Smart cities, yes, that's a very interesting development that is taking off in a big way. The reason why is that we see a couple of developments. On the first, there is this grassroots sort of democratization process that we start seeing happening thanks to technology, the internet, access to broadband, the mobile phones, mobile broadband. All of this makes it possible for people to be more connected, to be better informed, and actually participate, interact with companies, with the politicians, with the government, with your local people. Everybody in your tribes or in your groups are becoming far more accessible and far more approachable thanks to technology. Put this in contrast with what's happening on the national, on the federal level, where we see that politics is becoming very bipartisan, and that it really becomes far more difficult to get consensus about the future, about what you need to do, about investments that need to be made, and therefore you see a hampering of activities happening on that level. At the same time, while there is consensus on sustainability, the environment, access to broadband, internet, on a grassroots level, so what you see is that cities have a far more bipartisan approach towards these developments than quite often is happening on the federal or on the national level. There are, of course, a number of issues on the local government level. They don't have the necessary funding and investments that are available to the federal government. So there is a problem with the investments and funding in smart cities. What you need is actually a mayor or the mayors of these towns to take a leadership role. What you need is a vision. The people know what's good for them. The people intuitively know what a smart city is without actually being able to exactly say what it's all about. But they know it's about livable, it's about sustainability, it's about economic possibilities and opportunities. It's about lifestyle. All of that is critical in the eyes of the citizens. So citizens know what they want. If a mayor can take a leadership role and use ICTs in their policies to actually make these improvements, make these things happening, then people can participate and people will participate and will support that sort of activity. So the leadership issue is critical. Once you've got that in place, it's not too difficult to get the citizens behind you. And then, of course, the next step is how you're going to actually execute that. Now, first of all, you have to go for low-hanging fruit. There's no such a thing as a smart city. Yeah, the smart city has many elements. In transport, in education, in healthcare, in sustainability, in energy, in the environment. Lots and lots of elements are part of a smart city that need to be addressed. So what you can do is what I call set up a PPPP. So that is a private-public people partnership. So you really include the people in that partnership and start setting up a platform how the citizens can communicate with council, businesses can communicate with councils, local business in particular, of course, but also larger businesses that are involved in these developments. So typically, the IBMs, the Ciscos, the Accentures, the larger companies that also play a key role in these developments. So altogether, in such a platform, you can actually start looking at how can we make this work. Yeah? As I mentioned, the low-hanging fruits need to be picked first. Typically that is street lighting, that is transport, that is parking, that are energies and sustainability issues. That are the low-hanging fruit where local councils can actually start work with and start looking at projects. So get a couple of these projects going. Utilize apps. The smartest city will be the city with the best apps. So apps are critical in engaging with the community and allowing the community to participate in the development of these smart cities. So these are some of the issues that you can do once you actually get things like that started. So once again, the leadership, the people involvement, and the platform where you bring industry and others together. You start looking at how can we implement that. A good element for the cities is to actually start looking at the city as a service. So rather than concentrating on owning assets, it is actually turning the assets into services. That basically is what you can do to avoid the high cost of investments, and trying to turn the services that you're getting from these elements, trying to actually deliver those services. So that's a key issue in that respect.